All right, so it's live. Get a minute. We still here, y'all. We still here. All right, we here. We ready, man. Glad to see you. All right,
Good,
Jay.
good evening. Good evening. We are live, bringing to you for the first time the Book of Man book study. We got a great book and a great one for you tonight. The 48 Laws of Power. I know you heard about it. I know you heard of it. I know you know somebody that read it, but did you understand it? Do you know what they're talking about? Did you pick it up? Did you pick up what they were putting down? Did you listen? Were you able to use any of it? We're going to go through it. We're going to start tonight. We're going to figure it out. We're going to see what it's really talking about, what it really means. The 48 Laws of Power. It is I, your host, Jay Sims, the Lion. I got a lot of thoughts on this one, y'all. It's going to be a good one. And it is not, I am with none other. You know his name, the Doc. Doc, how are you doing this evening, bro?
Jay, man, I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this since we first announced it. I
Okay.
can't wait to dig into this, man. You know, the way that we see things, man. The people tell us to read books, but some books be hard to understand. Or it'd be too long. We're too busy. So
Right.
we here, man. We're gonna get into this thing together. We're gonna solicit all these opinions, see if we on the same page, and we're gonna learn together. That's what we do. That's what we do here at the Book of Man. We function as one, we learn as one, and we support one another.
That's right. That's what we're here to do. We're here to give everybody a chance to grow as men, women. Sometimes when women join on, they welcome to learn what they can learn and give us the input. And it's just an opportunity to try to introduce to some people some things they may not have had the opportunity or the time to see for themselves. This particular book, man, I think it's very I think there's a lot of great information in this book. I think there's a lot of things you can use in your daily life. It's called the 48 Laws of Power. Some people are going to hear that word and immediately assume something negative, but power is not good nor bad. It's how you use it
That's
that
right.
that
And
determines the.
that's why we going through the preface first, because as I started to go through it, I usually skip that. Everybody skip that first
Right.
part of the book. But with this book, you got to read it, you got to listen to it, all of that. So, but before we get into it, Jay, I want to go ahead and tell the fellas a little something, because there will be a replay of this. I'm screaming this on our page here, and we are going to the YouTube page, so you can go over to the Book of Man YouTube page. It's another one with the name. Just look for the black background with the gold B. That's us. You can watch it on there. Also, if you want to comment, it's a link on there that says allow StreamYard permission. Go ahead and click that so we can see your comments and see your name and stuff like that. And once you do that, you set. Now, this is how this is gonna go. Me and Jay gonna go through this book, and we will have we'll take your comments while we're going, but there'll also be a part in there where we drop the link and you can come on with us. All you have to do is click the button and you can jump in. You could be on camera or you can turn your camera off, either one, but we still can participate. And now let's get into it, man, to see what we do. So I'm gonna throw it back to you, Jay.
All right, well, you said the preface, and I think when it comes to the preface of this book, like you said, is very, very important because it kind of outlines the whole idea and concept of the book and what it's trying to teach, or trying to get you to understand what's happening around you. And I think it's a couple of things right off the initial rip you have to kind of get with this book is, do you even agree on the premise that's laid out here? You know, and I think one of the for me, my opinion, the premise is that we are all in the game of power. And it has been going on for as long as men have been alive. And in our current time, the way we play the game is far more intellectual and almost, manipulative to a certain point than
everybody manipulate. They do it. Everybody do it. Even the people you don't think doing it. But listen to this. I was talking to one of my best friends earlier about the book. And we talked about that, how some things seem unethical, immoral. But then I told him, you know what? Everybody play this game. And there's a quote in the book, which we're going to get to that soon.
Right.
But even the pastors in the church, they do the same thing. And it's not to do anything bad or evil, but it's a way that you have to influence people. And as a man, if you're a dad, if you're a husband, you have influence over your family. You have influence everywhere you go. And you got to know it.
Listen, there's not a man I know of anywhere that has a wife and a daughter that's not getting manipulated right now in this moment. He is getting manipulated right now, whether he knows it or not. If he has a wife and a daughter, or a wife or a daughter, he is being manipulated right in this second. There's some manipulation going on. He could be playing the game, watching the game, or whatever. I guarantee you 100%, one of those two or both are currently plotting against him, for him, against him, with him, all at the same time.
Hey, look at the fellas. The fellas. I can't see their names. It just say Facebook user. I'm gonna check the settings on that. Look at this. So yes, sir. And my brother right there said, ha ha.
You know,
you got absolutely, man. They know it.
They know, because that's what's going on, man. We all get manipulated by somebody in some way, and we all have times when we have to do it. I don't necessarily think manipulation is a tool. Does not necessarily mean it's bad or good. You can manipulate somebody to do something. Take, for example, if you're a woman and you prepare the food in your house. If you prepare nothing but healthy food, you're now manipulating your husband into a healthy diet.
That's right.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Or the same way we manipulate our wives into healthy spending habits.
Exactly.
The same thing.
Exactly. It's just how it goes.
So it happens.
It happens. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It just depends on what you're using it for. But it's so much in this book, man. And I'm glad we're breaking it down. Let's go ahead. Let's hit them with a little bit, Doc. Right. Then we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna see how we feel and how they feel.
All right, let's go. So there we go. Book of Man. That's us. That's us. Doc and the Lion. And you see our mission up there too, is to encourage, collaborate, learn, teach. We want to get better and be better. That's what we're doing. All right, let's move on. 48 Laws of Power. That's our book study for today.
Before we get started, everybody that's on right now, hey, go ahead and hit that like button, share, join the page. If you're not on the Book of Man page, follow us on YouTube. Go ahead and do all of that. We appreciate you. Take care of that for us. Please go ahead and share it at every platform you're on. Share it to your groups. Thank you very much. We appreciate you in advance. Go ahead, Doc.
Man, I'm so excited. I forgot all about that. I'm just ready to go. All right, let's get it. So here we go. This is our little agenda for the day. We're gonna go over the preface because you got to do that one, man. It's imperative to knowing the whole book. Gonna have our little discussion, then we're gonna hit law 1, have a little discussion. So we're gonna take some time and really dig into this. Hopefully we'll be about an hour and a half, 2 hours, but who knows? We're gonna just take it where it go. All right. So the first thing I want to ask y'all is that, how do you perceive power?
Man, Doc,
Like right now,
it's a great
how
question.
do you perceive it?
It's a great question. All right, me personally, I perceive power as a tool, and my ability to gather more of that tool, as well as my use of that tool, will decide where I go and what I accomplish throughout my daily life. So for me, power is a tool. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just a resource or a tool that can be used, and I can wield if I can wield effectively, can accomplish goals that I have for myself and the people around me.
Well, I'm gonna tell you the truth. For me, it was one of those things that everybody think is bad, but I would think it was bad, but I like having it, and I always did things to get it, but just in a covert way,
Right.
you know. So it is a tool. So look, this what we got here. Oh, there he is. Now the name's coming up there.
Okay,
Authority,
there it is.
control, positioning come to mind at first. So yep, you're right. The tool is it.
Well, look at it like this. This is how I look at it. To look at power negatively, that's kind of a foolish endeavor when we elect people to have power over our lives. So we're going to give somebody a negative power over our life. We can't just assume the power itself is negative, because that's a bad premise for electing someone and giving them power, if power in itself is inherently a negative thing.
I mean, you know, even like we said, the pastors in the church,
right?
They do it. Even the best pastors, that's good men that do what they're supposed to do, they still wield power.
Correct.
So it's there.
They should wield power. Your pastor should wield power. He has to lead his flock. How can he lead a flock with no power?
How can you lead your family with no power?
You have to have
some. How can lead your kids with no power?
First of all, if you don't have any power, your woman not going to respect you anyway. let's start right there. If she doesn't feel or see some power in you, she's not going to respect you anyway. So you can forget leading the family. You won't have one, or you will be a sucker in your own family.
Yeah, that's true. Or the classroom, you know, as teachers, you know, in the classroom, we use this.
Right.
As I read through this, I saw all the things as educators, teachers do every day.
So this all of it. Some things we discussed before about changing your perception.
They won't spec you at all. They sure enough won't. You had to put that spec on it.
Yeah, spec on his name. So we have to. That's about what we talked about before. Changing our perception, changing the way we look at things, changing the way we approach things. You can't. If you approach power with a negative mindset towards it, then you won't go after it the way you should, because you will be afraid it's going to be something negative for you.
You know, I'm going to go ahead and say this. Wow, this book has had such a negative connotation with many people. Some folks think that it's a narcissist Bible. Some people believe that it's a misogynistic tool. Some believe that it's just a way for evil people to get into power.
I disagree wholeheartedly with that.
But that's why we're spending time on the preface right now. Before we even get into that, we have to do this.
First of all, the idea that this book is a misogynist tool is hilarious. That's hilarious, because the people who actually use the laws discussed the most in this book, the most effectively in the book, are women, because they have less physical power. They have to use the tools better and more effectively than men to accomplish their goals, especially back in the old days, in the ancient times, because they weren't even supposed to hold titles. And these are women who use the 48 laws effectively enough to become emperors and rulers of entire countries.
Yeah. And
So
honestly, they born with it. God gave it to them.
right. There was a line in a
You
movie
know?
I watched once. And the guy said, you know, I want her to sleep with a man and lie to him. She was a woman. She was born with the skill. She don't need no training. You know,
Yeah, there you
she's,
go.
you know, she had all the skills she needs to do that. So it's fine. And I respect that fully. So we have to change our view on our concept of power. Power itself is not inherently bad. But we learn something very young in life, that power corrupts, and
Yep.
absolute power corrupts
Corrupt.
absolutely. That's a saying.
Absolutely.
And I honestly think that's something rich people teach to poor people to keep us poor. That's
Well, but see, these rules keep you from slipping into that. As we
right.
go through this study, you will figure out how to keep yourself from going that far.
Right.
But let's roll on, man. Let's roll on. Look what we got. So then here we go. I don't know if y'all know who that is. Y'all probably heard his name a lot. Niccolo Machiavelli. And I'm not talking about Tupac. It's Machiavelli, the real one.
But that's where the name came from, though. But go ahead.
That's the real. That's what he said. Any man who tries to be good all the time is bound to come to ruin among the great number who are not good.
Correct.
So that was me. That was me. Because I try to be a good man. I do. And being that the other responsibilities I have in the church, and then that as a teacher, a role model, I got kids looking up to me. I try to be good.
Right.
You do. But if you
Sure.
don't learn this stuff, people will seek you out and seek to destroy you.
I'm
They
gonna give
will
you
take advantage of you every single time.
every time. I'm gonna give you a prime example of why this makes perfect sense. When somebody when it's time when a country or somebody is attacked, who do they send to defend the country?
Yep, the army.
They send army. They send soldiers. They don't send farmers and preachers and all. They send soldiers. They send warriors, because those are good men that can do bad things.
Right.
It takes a wolf sometimes to catch a wolf.
Yeah. It's just known as your wolf.
Right. Exactly.
It's your wolf. All right. Well, I'm gonna jump ahead because we got a good bit of slides to go through. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. All right. So this is what I did. So I ended up I put a post on my Facebook page, and I asked if anybody had read the 48 Laws of Power. Now, if you look what I got here, I scratched out their picture and their name because, you know, I don't want to use people's stuff without permission. But the first one said it was okay, but not for me. The second one said, I have read it, a good book, but not everything in the book is ethical. But it's good to know what a lot of people in power do to get power. If you want to become successful, then they recommend reading 16 Laws of Success by Napoleon Hill, which we'll probably get back around to that one too later on. And at the bottom, we got, let me make it where y'all can see, overt power is frowned upon. Using it automatically makes you the bad guy.
And that talks about it in the preface.
I'm just rolling through this stuff. I'm getting ahead of myself. But this is what I want to point y'all to. So the first guy said it was okay, but not for him. He had a certain viewpoint of the book, and that's why it wasn't for him. The second guy had a different viewpoint, but he still had some bias.
Right.
Because that's where the ethical part come from. Now, I want to tell y'all this. In academic research, we have something called a conceptual or theoretical framework. And what that is, that's the lens that you look at a problem through. And we have to do that with this book. For example, you know them old time 3D glasses with the red on one side, the blue on one side?
Remember those?
If you look through those glasses, everything gonna look red, everything gonna look blue, or it's gonna all look combined.
Right.
The lens that you look at things through helps determine how you perceive and soak in the information. So with this book, we have to look at it through a lens of neutrality and see it for what it is.
Correct. It is you definitely have to take a neutral point on it. And I even understand, having read what I've read in the book, there's definitely some things that I personally would have trouble using as a tool or as a method to accomplish a goal. But
What?
I think the wisdom in it, like they said, is to know what a lot of people in power do to get the power and are willing to do to move forward in power, so you can be prepared for it yourself.
True. And I feel the same way, man. You some things my morals won't let me do,
Right,
or my morals cloud how I interpret it. There's one law that where it talks about making enemies. If you don't have enemies, then make some.
right.
Right then, you would probably think like, you know what? I need to do some bad stuff to people. I need to take advantage, but that's not it.
Well, I
You
think
make enemies by being successful. Being you is always going to be somebody trying to take you down. You
correct.
focus on you.
Well, I think that's one of the things that we can talk about is if we are all playing the game. One of the things they talk about is that we're all playing this game of power, no matter
Oh,
if we actively playing the game.
there you go, right there.
Right. Everyone is engaged in the pursuit of power. So you can like it or not like it, but you have to know you're in it. And you have to be able to effectively navigate. There you go. You have to be able to
We can do that.
effectively navigate the world of power in whatever realm you exist in. You must learn to navigate the world. Yeah, because if you don't, you're gonna be the one sitting on the outside in the cold, which we will go over.
And you know what? And as odd you said that, because I put the same thing in the slide about navigating the world. So here's the thing: the longer you play without knowing about power, the worse it is for you and your family. It results in missed opportunities. Like when people get looked over for promotions, they don't get raises, stuff like that, because you don't understand how things work.
Right. Well,
And again, like you said, everybody is engaged in it.
Well, it's like this: how good can you be at football if you don't know the rules? How good can you be at basketball if you don't know the rules? If we agree that we're all playing the game, which I think we have to agree, in this world we are all engaged in this. I don't think you can say like you say, you cannot opt out.
Right.
You have to give yourself you have to learn the rules and then give yourself some tools in which to play the game with, some tools or skills in which to play the game with. It's 48 laws of power. Doesn't say, there's no law that says you must use them all.
No, and you don't use them all at the same time.
Right. But they're definitely everywhere in the book it talks about you need to recognize that they are being used.
You got to know about it. So here's the other part in the book. And I did a quick summary on this where it says everybody is engaged in the pursuit of power, even those who say they don't want it or don't do it.
Correct.
So now you got the non-players, right? People who said, I'm not getting in it. I ain't doing none of that stuff. Well, those players who say they're not doing that indirectly manipulate people.
Correct.
Because they make themselves appear to be harmless.
Right.
Then you got the people who intentionally show their weakness. I can't do this. I can't do it. Remember at them jobs, the old folks used to say, don't show that man everything you know how to do.
Right.
Because if you do, they're going to have you doing all kinds of stuff.
Right.
For free. That's it. That's law 22. That's a surrender tactic.
Correct. Well, it's like this. Again, it comes back to having knowledge of what's being used around. You said right here, you say mastering the 48 laws can spare others the pain of you bungling your power. What that means is if you don't know, you may get yourself to a position of power, but if you don't know how to navigate all the rules and laws of power, let's say you were born a king, say you were born into nobility and power, whatever, something like that, just into wealth. Or if you don't know how to handle it, you're going to squander that wealth and that title and have nothing. And then all those that fall under your purview, or under your command, or in service to you, will suffer, or they will be under the hand of a new master who may or may not be good.
So get this, we all worked at a place before. where somebody got a promotion, or they no better yet, they bring somebody in from the outside, but that person don't know what they're doing.
Right.
It's the same thing. You the manager over all these people, but you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
It's the same thing. You got to know about it, man. You got to know what's up.
And there's two types of people in that city. There's people that come in with an attitude to learn, and there's folks that come in with an attitude that they know everything. And the people that come in with an attitude to learn tend to do better than the ones that come with the attitude they know everything. They don't seem to last long. We will run them out the building.
Oh, you know that go down.
Yeah.
they get them up out of there.
Out of there quick. Gonna find a way.
So let's look at this thing here. Let's look at the next one. Learning about power requires a shift. You have to shift your thinking, shift your perceptions, shift what you know is normal.
Right.
Honestly, you have to shift for everything. So here go the parts of that. The big part is mastering your emotions. Yep. Because if you don't master your emotions, they can cost a lot. And what the book says is that the greatest barrier to power and control is not mastering your emotions. It clouds your reason, and it inhibits how you respond to situations. You can't control yourself.
Right.
And out of those, anger. This is the most destructive thing, because anger got a way of messing up everything.
Blinds you. It blinds you. You get so mad, you can't focus on anything else. You can't think about anything else. You lash out. It turns from a cerebral activity to a physical activity, and all kind of bad things happen. How many times we've heard stories of, they left the house upset and they got in a car accident?
Man, look,
things like that. The boss or somebody said one thing to them and they lost it and lost their whole job because they got upset in the moment. Been there for 10 years.
That remind me of kids. We all seen the kid when they get angry, and the teacher, their parent, tell them, "You keep on, you're gonna see what's gonna happen." And they be so mad they keep it going, and they lose everything. I know a lot of y'all done been on punishment before.
Yep.
They had that Nintendo put up, can't play no Tecmo Bowl, none of that.
Out of there.
Because you didn't let your anger get the best of you.
It's up there in your mama's closet collecting dust.
Hey, my daddy used to take the plug out the back. Yeah. He'll lead the game and take the plug out the back. Yeah. He had no power.
you sad. Your mama don't even know how to hook it up. She make you unhook it and put it up. You know what? Take it out the wall. No, unhook it from the TV. You and they gotta put your own punishment together. She don't know how to do it. Ain't this a mess? You gotta put your own stuff away. You can't get your own stuff.
Hey, put yourself on punishment. That's like taking yourself to time out. Go over there. Well, I don't know. People used to do it. Go pick me a switch.
Yeah.
Go get the belt.
I done had to do that. You better pick the right one. You don't want them to pick it.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. One time we was traveling, right? And I saw this lady. This lady had a car full of kids in this medium-sized SUV, right? Yeah. And we was riding beside them. And I could see her yelling that whole time. Man, next thing I know, they pull up ahead of us, right? Man, by the time I got up to where they was, the lady had them pull on the side of the road, right? Got out the car, had the kids going in the ditch to get some switches to get their behind cut.
Hey, it is what it is. Look, tighten up. Tighten up. They failed. They didn't read the room. They didn't read the room. They didn't realize that mom about to go off on us. They didn't learn that they tried to outshine the master. Didn't work out for them.
Law number one, they ain't knew about.
They ain't knew about it.
Look at what we got here. Patterson said mastering your emotions. The Bible talk about that. This all littered through there.
Yeah.
We got one of our people said it took him a while to figure that out, man, about that anger.
It takes a while. Well, the thing about it is we all learn these different things at different points in life. And some of us have never had any type of formal sit down about it. Like you say, your parents will tell you better stop before you don't know what's coming to you. or whatever, but we don't get a real lesson. And nobody says
you got to teach, but you got to teach somebody when they're not mad.
Yeah, right.
You can't teach them when they're mad.
Yeah, and you got to try to sit down and give them a lesson and explain it to them. And as far as the T-Man said about it being in the Bible, listen, the things in this book are taken from so much different events throughout history and different times. You're absolutely correct. It's in the Bible. A lot of the teachings in this, as far as the self-control, you can absolutely get from the Bible.
All day long. We got another
controlling
one
your
here.
emotion.
Go for it, man. Go.
Controlling your emotion is such a major part of life. It's especially for us as largely for us as Black men, because anytime we lose control, it generally has a negative result for us.
All day long.
If we lose control in public, even if we are justified in our anger or our frustration, a lot of people only see an angry Black man. And
that's it.
That is a scary thing for a lot of people, especially for those of us, of larger size. That's a scary.
Oh, no, just be bigger.
Yeah, because you're bigger. So that's a scary thing for a lot of people. And you have to understand that that's something you have to be able to do. And plus, like you said, you get out of line, you get angry at the wrong time with the wrong person or in the wrong atmosphere, and you can have years off your life taken from you.
I made a video because y'all know I make motivational videos just like Lion up there. I made one that's called Anger is a Slow Release Poison. It's a slow release poison. And most of us let it build up and it clouds our judgment because all we can focus on is revenge.
Right.
And to get back. But we got to get control of that. But look at this comment down here. Every action doesn't require a reaction. That's
true.
Sometimes you can sit still and do nothing. You don't have to pick something.
Patience. You got to have some patience. We're gonna get to it. Let's keep going. Let's go.
All right. So love and affection. You know what? That's a bad one. When they say them boys got their nose wide open, that girl got your nose wide open. You can't focus on what you're doing. So, But what the authors say, what Robert Greene said about that is say that you can't repress love or anger. So you can't stop it from happening.
Right.
But you can be in control of how other people see you handle it.
Correct. And you have to, like you said, you have to make sure you show people what you want them to see. Regardless of how mad you are, how in love you may be, or whatever, you have to make sure people see what you want them to see, because they're looking at you and using the same rules and laws and whatever else to get what they want as well. So if you show them too much or too little, it's going to cause a certain type of reaction from everyone around you.
No, like this might be bad advice, but I tell my kids this, even my kids that I teach. When somebody picking on you, you feel emotional, you do all of this stuff, you can cry, but you better do it over there with nobody watching you.
Yep.
Because, and the reason why I say that, people might say that's toxic or whatever, but here's the gist of the whole thing. If somebody is niggling you, they doing little things to you, right, they trying to make you cry, and you never show them that. Because that the object is to last longer than them. You can't be crying in front of everybody. I ain't saying don't do it at all.
Never give somebody the satisfaction of knowing they got the result they wanted. I refuse. But no matter how bad you hurt my feelings, you will never know how bad I'm hurt. You're going to have to wonder about that for the rest of your life.
Because guess what? They're going to do it again.
Yep.
They're going to do it again.
I could be crying. I can be crying in the house by myself in the corner. You will never know. I refuse to let a person know they can control me.
Y'all look at this one. All right, look at this one. Now, I put never get caught slipping. You got to be able to look two ways at once. If you look at that picture, that's a sculpture of one of the Greek minor gods by the name of Janus. Now, here's the thing about Janus. Janus was blessed and cursed because he had two faces. he had the one face in the back and the one in the front, so he could see everything. But look how this applies to us. The old man in the back uses his experience to look into the future. But then the young man learns from the past. That's why you got an old man and a young man. You got to be able to do both. This is how you keep from getting caught up, because instead of sitting there celebrating and thinking you got it won, you need to be thinking ahead and looking at how in the world, what can go wrong? What can happen? What do I need to prepare for? Power allows you to do that.
Correct. There's a couple of things here. Never get caught slipping. You must be able to look two ways at once. That's what it says. Not only to be able to look two ways at once, but you got to be able to look and think several steps ahead.
Yeah.
You know, if I do this, when I do this, I expect these 2 or 3 results. If I get these 2 or 3 results, then I should do this, which would cause them to do this, this, and this, and so on and so forth. However, you never be 1 step ahead, be 5 steps ahead, 10 steps ahead.
Okay. There we go. The chess game. There it is.
There it is.
It's exactly. The chess game. All right. But look at this. All right. The authors say, Robert Greene said, the best skill to develop is to be able to look at yourself, see your own mistakes, and vow to never do them again.
Exactly.
Self-exam. That's when my life changed. My life changed when I was able to look back at the stuff that I did and the stuff that happened and realize a lot of it was my own fault.
Right.
It was because of me, something I did.
Exactly.
And once you get to that point, then you can become better. But these days, a lot of folks, man, they want to blame everything on everybody else. And we can't do that. Even if they are being oppressive or things are happening, you still have to operate within that.
Correct. Well, it's like going back to what we said earlier about controlling your emotion, which will allow you to evaluate yourself honestly, analyze yourself honestly, observe and learn from all situations. Because sometimes great things happen and we don't even go back and see how we made something great happen. We just keep rolling.
Yeah, we just keep our head down.
You can learn. Yes, you learn from mistakes. You can learn from your successes as well. How do I repeat this success? How do I get more of this? What are the steps that I take that I took that were correct in this endeavor? And how do I replicate those? And you can, in your joy, forget that. You know, one of my favorite coaches is, of course, Coach Belichick. Whether they win, lose, whatever, he got the same attitude. You know, I feel like he had the worst and simultaneously the best post-game interviews ever. Win or lose, you know, this work, that work. We're gonna go back to the drawing board and try again next week. Try to get another win or make sure we don't lose. I don't care what the situation. Super Bowl, AFC Championship, doesn't matter what the game was. Same Belichick. Hey, you know, we had a good game. We tried this, we tried that. We're gonna analyze, look at the video, look at the tape, see what worked and see what didn't. And that's how you gotta be. You gotta be one level, cold with it, and just analyze. This is the results that we got. This is what worked. This is what didn't. What can we do better to get more of the positive results? So
what you're telling me is that you got to stop and watch the game tape of your life.
Yeah.
You got to watch and learn if you need to play more defense or you need to be more aggressive with the ball.
You got to put the coach's film on. You know, see what you missed.
Watch the tape.
I think Kobe Bryant had one of the best shows I've ever seen. He had a show called Detail on ESPN Plus before God rest his dead. You know, before he died. It's actually the show Detail made me really appreciate Kobe Bryant more than I appreciated him when he played. And the way he
I thought you was about to say you ain't like Kobe.
He was all right. But I liked him more. I liked him more after he retired than I did when he played. I didn't like some of his off the field stuff, off the court stuff. On the basketball court, of course, he's one of the top 5 greatest players of all time. But I didn't like some of his off the court activities and the way a couple of things. But we don't get into that. The bottom line, what I loved about him though was how he broke down. Was how he broke down every single piece, movement, step. He would literally break down another player and his action and that other player's action down to the most minute thing as far down as, oh, he slid his foot 3 inches to the left. That means he was going to do this. You know, it was broken down so far, and I was so impressed with that. And it really helped me to go back and look at my life and my actions. You know, what am I doing wrong? What was it? Not only the big things, but what about the small, minute details? You know, why was I late to work? Okay, I need to get up 5 minutes earlier so I can beat the traffic, so I can beat the train. Little things like that.
Yeah,
you got to really work on. Yeah,
you got to test, but yeah, stuff just don't happen. There's no such thing as luck, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it. People always, it's no such thing as luck. It's what you do.
Well, I will say this: it may be no such thing as luck, but I do believe there's such thing as chance, and chance favors the prepared mind.
Go with it, man. Go.
You know? It's a reason the same people keep winning. You know, it's a reason the same quarterbacks are up for the MVP every year because they prepare to be that. You know,
true. All right, so and we getting close to the end of this preface. So, what is power? What Robert Greene said is that it's neither good or bad. What I said is that it can be offensive or defensive. And that power is a social thing. You know, you got to go out there with people.
Right. Well, he says in the book, he says power is essentially amoral. You know, meaning it's not good or bad. And he said this is a game. When you sit down to play a game, you don't have any anger or malice towards your opponent, but you are going to employ strategy to win the game. If I'm playing Monopoly, I'm not mad at you, but I am going to use strategy to include manipulation and deception to win this game. And if we agree it is a game, and we agree that the entire world are the opponents, then we must use all of the strategies and the tools at our feet to apply to win the game. Nobody, you know, we have to do it.
So I talked to a friend, and I ain't gonna call his name, but I'll say Lil Bill. You know who you are. This match up with what you told me today. What he told me is that in preparation for this, he went and tried to find out Robert Greene's motivation for writing the book. And he found this interview. I ain't watched it yet, but I'm gonna watch it later on. Where he answered that question. And what it was advice to his 21-year-old self. It wasn't to take over the world. It wasn't to make people feel bad and subjugate everyone under the iron fist of your rule. It was to his self to avoid the pitfalls of life.
Right.
That's what he hit on something. The power is that. But look at this. This is the most important stuff that we're going to get to this last question, and we're going to open up the lines so you can come in. When they say power is social, right? You got to learn how to study and understand people.
Correct.
And by that, because in order to wield power correctly, you need to know the person, or in order to not be a victim, you got to know the person.
Right.
So you got to understand what motivate people. And you also got to dig deep and find those hidden motivations. This is this is the advice I give to my daughter. When she go out to date people, motivations, figure out what that is. And don't discriminate who you're going to study everybody.
Right.
Your mentor, your best friend, your worst enemy, you can get something from anybody. And again, I'm going to shout out Lil Bill because we was talking about this YouTuber that's he a millionaire. And he said, man, did you watch his video? And I'm like, man, nah, I don't hardly watch his stuff because I don't like Buddy attitude. The way he come off, I don't like, but he do know what he's talking about. So am I not going to get that knowledge he putting out because I don't like the way he say things or the way he carry himself? You can learn from any and everybody.
Listen, one of the things you just touched on every one of these three points that he made. Understand the motive. Like you said, the reason he wrote the book. So I respect Lil Bill for going to find that out. What was his motive? That's one of the things in the book is understand everyone's motive and why they're doing what they're doing things. And he says and this is the one that I think people struggle with, is never trust anyone, especially family and friends. And I think a lot of people hear that line and they're like, that's a hard way to live, to never trust anybody.
Yeah.
And remember, this is why you playing the game of power. Never trust anyone. If you put people in your own home that you can't trust, then you've already made a great error in playing the game of power, because those people you should be able to trust.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Then it says,
go ahead. Go.
Then the last part, along with what you're saying, is study everyone. No matter who they are, no matter their status, no matter their current situation in life, study everyone, because you can learn something about who they are, what they are, and their goals and their methods, and you can maybe be able to use those people to help you or keep preventing them from hurting you. So, those things are big.
All right, y'all. We to the end of this preface. And the only question I got is, how's your perception change? And I tell y'all what, I just dropped the link in the chat. The link is in the chat. If you want to come on, go ahead and click it. We get you on. We'll talk about it. You can say your piece, what you got out of that, what your ideas are. So if you want to do that, go ahead and click the link. You can come on. You could do it from your phone, laptop, computer, whatever. And you don't have to have a camera on. It's all good. You can just have camera off. And we there. So, so how's your perception change?
Well, for me personally, I went into the book open-minded. I tried to go into the book open-minded. Of course, we got the 48 Laws. We had artists and entertainers make songs about it. We've had people talk about it. And, if you're online and you're in YouTube and in the same kind of realm you and I are in, checking with motivational speakers and people like that have all spoken on this 48 Laws of Power. So I tried to go into it with an open mind, as I want to learn something about this and myself, reading this book. And what I got from it was, how can I utilize these tools being laid out in this book to help advance my life? And I realized some of them I had been using my whole life.
That's right.
Some of them I've used, I fell victim to by not using them correctly, or just flat out did it wrong. My own personal life, I did not abide by the first law that we're going to go into tonight.
Hey, I got my own story about that one. I'm telling you. But so we got somebody ready to come in.
Oh, right, who you got?
Yeah, T-Man. I'm gonna go ahead and add you in, and there he go. So whenever you're ready to go. So T, what you got? I see you muted.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
There you go. Oh, that's my brother right there.
Ready to go.
That's my brother right there.
Okay.
Muted.
What's up, guys? Again, what's up, Lion? Nice to finally meet you, man.
You gotta turn us off in the background. Turn the volume down.
Oh, yep. Oh, he know. He know all that. It won't take him long.
It's all right.
All right, is that better?
Oh yeah.
All right, sorry. No, I just want to say, all good here?
Oh yeah, you good.
All right. You guys are crushing it out there. I love everything that you guys are doing. I talk to Simone about this at work every day.
Okay.
I'm not a big reader. Surprisingly, I teach reading, but I don't like to read. But I'm really enjoying this book so far. I love history. All the references to everything that's happening in the past has been great. Just so much to connect to. So with the preface, with that question, I was going to say, it is a lot like how I play chess. I don't know many skills, but I know the rules. So when we talk about power, I know it exists. I know how to manage myself. I can navigate it, but I'm not an expert yet. Right. And so when I think about this book, I think this guy's an expert, and he's sharing out, like, here are the strategies, here are the skills, everything that you guys are talking about, the tools that you need to be able to navigate this and not just show up on kickball day at gym class and sit in the outfield and catch a ball, but to hit home runs, get strikeouts, make plays, you know, gym class hero style.
Right.
When I related to teaching. So that's pretty much all I had to add. I think so far so great. You guys are like really teaching me a lot tonight about things that I didn't even really think about.
So when as you're going through the book, what's the number one like rule, or from the preface anyway, that you've taken as you feel you can apply in your own life? Can you hear?
I think right away. Yeah. Oh, there's a little delay. I've noticed.
Okay.
And it might be us too. But I've only gotten up to chapter 2, or law 2. But law 1, Simone and I talked about, like, you know, we work under different administrators, different academic coaches, all types of almost management systems that are above us in many different degrees. And I think over the last couple of years, I got a little bit of an ego. Like, I can challenge those systems and do things that maybe I shouldn't have. Burning bridges and things a little bit too early, instead of kind of like you guys are talking about, having a little bit more patience and being a little bit more methodical in how I approached career advancement, you know, climbing that ladder. So far, chapter 1 has struck me pretty well. Like, so, I'm only on 2.
So do you agree with the premise of we're all playing this game and we should all equip ourselves with the correct tools to play it effectively?
Yeah, the thing that really came to mind was like when I have all my kids play kickball at recess, like it's like everybody's playing, too bad. So you have the kids that know the rules, that can kind of keep up. And then you got the kids that are pros at it. They know how to like steal bases and make plays. And then you got the kids in right field that like get hit in the head of the ball. And that's life. You know, we're all playing this game all the time. Are you like unaware and staring off into space? Or are you in the game and making moves and being patient? Like, sometimes you got to wait till you're up to make a big play and cheer each other on. Sometimes, you know, and I think the big thing that I learned is that we're naturally competitive as humans. We're all competitive. So competition can be a lot of fun too. Like playing a game, competition can be a lot of fun. But if we look at it in a negative way, like get angry when we lose instead of learning from when we lose to make the next situation better, or how to, like you guys were talking about in the book, talks about planning ahead, then the game becomes more fun. Why? Because you're winning. And when you're winning a game, like, life's good. You know, you have poker face on, you're fooling people, you're raking in the money. And then when you're winning, guess what? You're helping other people out because you have more energy, more money, more skills, and you could share that wealth. So there's a benefit to being a winner, you know, and that's what I think this book is really talking about, is how to be a winner in life, and not necessarily what to do with your winnings, but necessarily how to climb that totem pole.
How to get them.
To get them. Yeah.
How to get them.
Yeah.
Well, I think the winnings go back to, or what to do with the winnings go back to what you have as your moral compass, which is, you know, as you go through the 48 laws, you realize your moral compass will dictate how much of those laws you can actually use and apply on a regular basis.
You know, I had what I did when I made the promo video for this, I made a section of it called, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. And that's a line everybody know about. It's Spider-Man, Uncle Ben told Spider-Man that. But here is the problem. We often want the responsibility, but we don't have the power. We always do things in reverse.
Or we have the power and can't handle the responsibility. Yep.
That's it. So I'm gonna throw this comment up here, and then I guess we can move on to the first.
Yeah, I'm gonna peace out, guys.
All right, T. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Transgression of the first law almost got me fired.
Did get me fired. It did get me fired. It definitely got me fired.
It ran me off, man. I'm gonna tell you. But here we go. Let's go ahead and dig into this part.
Yes, sir. Let's go into
Law
it. Here we
1.
go.
Never outshine the master. Now, you say always make those above you feel comfortably superior. And your desire to please and impress them. Do not go too far in displaying your talents, or you might accomplish the opposite. Inspire fear and insecurity. Make your masters appear more brilliant than they are, and you will attain the heights of power. I know we've all done that before.
Oh, yeah.
So let's roll into this thing. All right, look at that dude right there. So in the book, Robert Greene explores a lot of historical things. He takes some stories from history, and he shows his laws through the stories in history. So this is Nicholas Fouke. He was a finance minister to King Louis XIV. Now, if you look at this dude, you see he got on the nice tailored shirt. He living in a lavish place. I mean, it's so hooked up. He got rugs on the walls.
Check him out. He got the rug matching the chair now. You see how he doing it now. The rug matching the chair. He coordinate.
I'm saying he got a perm on, got curls and all that stuff. So he was out there. But see, that's the thing about him. He loved money. He liked to party, and he liked poetry and arts and stuff. Yep. So what happened was he lost an opportunity he thought he should have. The finance minister died. He thought he needed to be the next finance minister because he was the sharpest tack in the box. You know what I'm saying? He had it going on. So when he didn't get it, he tried to impress the king with a party to say, oh, if the king see how sharp I am, he see how important I am, I'll get that. So he had the party. I mean, they had good food there. They had, women everywhere. They had shows and plays. It was the biggest thing ever.
Oh, man. He did it now. He did it up. 30th birthday party on him. He did the big things.
He did the Will Smith for Jada's 40th birthday party.
Yeah, he did it. We saw that work out for Will.
We're going to talk about that book later, too.
We saw how that played out for Will on that one, didn't we? Yeah.
You know what? It fall into this story right here. This power right here. So what happened was the king got jealous and had him arrested the next day for stealing money.
He balled too hard. Oh, you got money too hard. You got to be stealing something.
So he locked him up for the last 20 years of his life. And then he ended up hiring a dude to take his spot who didn't like none of that stuff. And when the dude stole the money, he gave it to him.
Yep.
He outshone the master.
It happens, man. I know I'm looking at the picture of this man. You say he spent the next 20 years of his life. Now, I know back in those days, people didn't live that long. If you lived to 50 or 60 years old, you lived a long life. So he was probably in his 20s. A young man doing all this. He just ain't know no better.
Doing it up. But he outshone, and you know what? We do that stuff.
Yep.
And I can bring up work. We do it at work.
Yeah.
Because we try to outshine and outdo the people who are above us.
Right. And you do have to showcase your talents in order to move up in the progression in the business world. But it's always it's a game. It's a fine line between showing your talents and getting over on somebody. My personal story, listen, in my youth, I took everything as an affront. You say this to me, you say that to me. It was purely about, I'm this good. I'm so good at this.
Mm-hmm.
Damn the rules. Damn what you say. Damn your accomplishments and your goals that you personally have, whether you are a subordinate or a superior. I'm the best in the goddamn business.
Uh-huh.
And I don't care what you got going on. I don't care what you believe. I don't care what you think. I'm going to do what I want to do when I want to do it. and you just gonna have to feel some kind of way about it. Now, for somebody at that time who had accomplished anything but being really good at a job, not a career, not in management, not a supervisor, I was just really good at that one thing that I did. That might have not been the best attitude to have.
Sound like you was a clamp truck driver.
Reach truck.
I told you.
Reach truck, clamp, any of the equipment listed.
Clamp.
I used to say there's nothing I can't do on the RR. There's nothing I can't do on the RC. I'm the best in the business, top 100 warehouse man in the world. And I meant that when I said it.
Uh-huh.
You know, and there's nothing wrong with believing that, but you can't be an asshole on top of that. The problem wasn't what I was saying and what I believed, and it was the way I man, listen, when I tell you I was so wrong at this job, man, I used to come in, you know, eating donuts, drinking Gatorade, 5-10 minutes late every single day. You know, the manager be like, hey man, I need you to go. Man, I'm doing this. I'm doing this and I'm doing it how I want to do it. Don't call me tell the manager, don't call me on the radio. You wait till I come by your office and say something to me.
Man,
that might not be the best approach.
I had a dude, man, when I used to run that tire warehouse up the road. I had a dude, man. I'm gonna call him call him Jamie. Jamie was the truth now, because we were working night shift. And Jamie could do everything. He could drive the reach truck, he could drive the clamp, he'd do all of it. And back then we were picking tires, so he was picking tires quick. And man, he was like, man, y'all need me, bruh. Y'all need me. What y'all gonna do? And even to make it worse, you know, up there, man, you know, dudes were struggling. So everybody was riding with him because he was the only one with the car. So he knew nothing was gonna happen to him because he had 6 dudes that he was taking to work every day. He thought he was bulletproof.
Yeah.
Until we knocked him down. It's the same. He used to do the same stuff, man. I'm gonna do it. Y'all can't do nothing to me. I ain't, man. Look at here. That happened.
You couldn't tell me nothing, man. Listen, they really messed up when they gave me the mod, and I was really running the mod by myself. I was like, oh man, man, please. They couldn't tell me nothing, man.
So look at this next slide. Now this dude here, that's King Louis the 14th. And what it say from history that he was proud and an arrogant man, that he was into the same stuff Fouke was into, but he had to be number one.
Right.
And what went wrong is that Fouke created a spectacle upon spectacle. Each one was greater than the last one. And instead of impressing the king, it offended him. Like, what is this dude doing? And it ended up people love Fouke more than the king. So that's why he went and had him locked up.
Fouke was out here balling too hard. He was shining on him. And the king said, oh, okay, you starting on me. Got something for that. Let me remind you who I am.
So I'm gonna tell y'all, I know, Jay, I know you read the Will Smith book or listened to the audio book like I did.
Yep.
Now, there's a part in there where he talks about what he did for his wife's 40th birthday.
Yep.
And he did, I mean, that joker had hired a poet to write her poetry. They was in the Sierra Mountains over in Arizona.
Oh yeah.
They had the banquet. He had the people search her genealogy and find pictures of his wife, grandma.
Yeah.
And spectacle upon spectacle, each one greater than the last. And it ain't work.
At all.
It ain't work.
His
wife shut that down fast.
Yeah. Now, I'm gonna say this. First of all, I love Will Smith. I read the book. It's a great book.
Good read.
I got my own opinions about Jada and that relationship. Not my place to say them two grown people. I'm gonna let them have their relationship. While I understand how that applies to what we're talking about tonight, and how she's not his master.
No.
Which is why
hold on now.
That's my problem.
Hold on.
That's the problem right there. The fact that you got to say hold on is the problem.
No, but he made her
Exactly.
his master.
Exactly. That's exactly
That's
my
what
point.
happened.
He made her his master, and
Mhm.
that's why I say that whole relationship is a whole nother. We could do a whole show on just that dynamic and why it's so wrong. But nevertheless, you do
That's
have
what
to think about
happened.
that kind of thing in any situation
Hmm.
when you're doing something to impress or manipulate or convince a person that is in a higher position than you to
Mhm.
give you a raise or give you a promotion, you have to be very careful with how you present your case.
Yeah.
You know, most times that I find effective is you must always present your case in a way that shows them how you make them money, how you make them better, how
Mhm.
you make them
Yep.
stronger, how you make them more money or more power, whatever they're at. You have to show how your
You can
presence
help that.
helps them. Fouque's era was he just showed off how great he was.
That's it. And we also believe that people have the same belief system we do.
Right.
I think this good. Look, I'm here. I can throw these parties just like you. I could throw the parties and put your name on it.
Yeah.
But he say he trying to usurp him. You see people on jobs say that, man, you just trying to get me fired so you could take my job. You hear it all the time.
Yep.
You hear it all the time, man.
It,
So
it's
we look at, go ahead.
it's like this. That's how it is. He failed to do what we talked about earlier, which is study everyone. He
Yeah.
didn't study Louis enough. He was just like, "Oh, I'm great. I'm this." And he didn't go out and say, "Okay, who's Louis and what does Louis want?" And he didn't study. He didn't study his target, and he missed his mark.
Mm-mm. He was more concerned with making himself look good.
Yeah.
Like you said, and that's not it. You can't be focusing on making yourself look good. That's what Will Smith did. But you have to focus on, like you said, making the master look good. And master, I mean someone who's above you. That could be a boss. We use boss as in the worker thing right now because that's something easy for everybody to understand.
Well,
But you got to say how you gonna help them. How you can make them.
I think the term master is where some people are getting lost on. I think you got to look at a master as the person whose approval or energy or time, if there's another individual that holds something you want from them in a particular situation, they can be the master because they control whatever it is you want.
That's right.
Not necessarily a master as in a boss or
a slave master, like a master and a slave.
Right. But a master is, and they control whatever it is you want. So you must figure out a way to get that from them. And what is the way to do that? But let's talk about that situation. We talked about how one person messed up. Let's give them how somebody else did it right.
All right. So this is how it went right. If you look at that picture, that's Galileo. He's there with the Medicis, which is a powerful family in Rome. So Galileo was an astronomer and a mathematician. He was one of the people that studied the universe, and we came up with the heliocentric model.
Correct.
From him, heliocentric, sun in the middle of the universe. Now, how he made his living back then was that he researched stuff, and then he encouraged the rich people to give him money to do more research. So he would study something and then say, okay, this is a book I'm writing about it, and I'm gonna dedicate it to you. And people would pay him for that. But the thing was that he had to bounce around from person to person, and that ain't hardly work, man. He was still living check to check. So what he decided to do is focus all his stuff on one family, that's the Medicis. And during that time, he had discovered Jupiter had moons. So guess what he did? He named them after that family because it aligned with the family's crest and everything they was doing. So what did the family do? They gave him a permanent job as a scholar and funded all his research for the rest of his life. So he made the Medici family, who was the master, shine brighter because now they had moons in the sky named after them.
Yep.
And he wasn't puffing his chest up and saying, look what I found.
He that whole entire discovery he dedicated to the Medicis. And like you said, they were so honored, and they got to shine brightly in front of all of their colleagues and peers because of what Galileo had done, that they loved him so much. And now everybody got what you want. They got to shine bright, and he got permanent money for the rest of his life, where he didn't have to run around scrounging from this person, that person. Now I did a little more reading. Galileo, in effect, because he had that regular money, it allowed him to do other studies besides just what the Medici family wanted. And he also, because he worked for them, people would come to them and ask, could Galileo do this for me or do that for them? And he would then charge us, which people make extra money. But that's just some of my own little research. I after reading this article that I went and did. We had Galileo when we was in school, and all of that kind of stuff.
6th grade.
Yep.
I taught it. But the thing is, even when the people came to the Medicis, they still shone brighter because Galileo was their man.
Correct.
That's my dude.
Yeah.
And that's how we got to be to our people. We got to set ourselves up and do it in such a way where we make other people look. It ain't all about you. Right. And that's the thing I learned too with power, is everything ain't about you. You got to redefine how you win the game. Most people, their egos get in the way. They always got to be first. They always got to have their name on stuff. They always got to be out front.
Yep.
And that's the best way to get your head took off.
Well, some people, they have to feel like they're getting over. Instead of thinking win-win, they always think win-lose. When in most situations, if you think win-win, you can get exactly what you want, and the other side can get exactly what they want if the goal is for everybody to win. Most people just feel like they got to get over. I got to feel like I'm getting a better end of the deal. When most times you can just have a good deal where everybody gets what they want.
Yeah. It's not a zero-sum game.
Correct.
Not a zero-sum game. All right. So look at this one. This is a picture of the Medicis. And this is why Galileo, which we just discussed. So I'm going to jump through it. That's why he was successful, because all masters want to appear more brilliant than everybody else. And brilliant doesn't necessarily have to mean brilliant as in smart. Brilliant can be just like the picture. They want to shine.
Yep.
They want to shine louder, brighter than everybody else.
Yep.
And at that point, their ego is greater than whatever benefits they might get.
Yep.
It's all about them. And how did Galileo get it? He did not outshine the master, but he made the master outshine everybody else. I mean, homeboy had moons in the sky named after him that people didn't know was there.
Mm-hmm. You know, real good about that. And that's part of the game, man. That's what we call finessing. Sometimes you gotta finesse a situation. You can't be a bully in every situation. You gotta finesse, you gotta make a person feel good. And you gotta, like I said, you gotta think win-win. Everything not a con. You don't have to get what you want while conning somebody out of something. You can actually take about it when you go buy something. It's sometimes you go buy something, you come home and you use it like, man, they got over on me. This wasn't worth it. But sometimes you go buy something, you bring it home and you use it, and you excited to go back and give that company some more money because you got your value out of it. They sold it for a price that they were comfortable selling it for. You bought it for a price you were comfortable buying it for. You used it. You enjoyed the item, and you went back and became a repeat customer because you got your value out of it. They wanted a repeat customer, so they gave a good product. Everybody won.
So what you're saying is, it's not a game of winners and losers, but life can be a game of winners and winners.
It can be, and you have to think that way. And in a situation where you are seeking out something from somebody else, you gotta make them feel like they winning when they're dealing with you.
So let's look at this one. Keys to power. So throughout this book, you'll see a lot of things that say keys to power. These are the things you need to know. And I'm sorry if you can't hardly read that. I'm going to have to go and redo this slide for later, but I'm going to read it. It says, everyone has insecurities. So you got to know that everyone is insecure about something.
Right.
Louis the 14th was insecure about his standing with the people. He had to shine the brightest, throw the best parties, had the best food, had the most women. And if somebody come up with something other than that, it's game over. And he got the power to make sure that it's going to be game over. And look at the second one. Most regular people don't really matter. So if somebody on the same level as you ain't got to jump through all these hoops and do this and that.
Right.
You ain't got to be the yes man. But for those in power, those over you, it's a whole different story. You got to play that game different.
Right.
And also, what he say, don't believe that in displaying and vaunting your gifts and talents that you are winning the master's affection. So if you just keep bragging on yourself, how good I am, that don't mean that they like you. Honestly, that don't mean that they even want to use you.
Right.
They can knock you off just like that. Be fired, be dumped, broken up with. They can just X you out the plan. And what's going to happen is, you see what I put at the bottom? He will act like everything is cool, but then get rid of you the first chance he get.
Yep. Listen, like we've been saying the whole time, this is the game of power. Most of the time it's not personal, but not knowing how to play the game can affect you personally.
That's right.
So don't go into it with your feelings in it like that, because you might not get the results you think you're supposed to get.
Man, you know what? I'm gonna say this. I see relationship in this. These young guys, when they start dating people and they want to puff their chests out and do this and that, it's all about me, this is how I am, and you be the first one dumped.
Yep.
And on the side of the road, I mean, it applies to everything.
You really have to sit and give all of your actions some thought and think about how they affect you and how they affect the people around you. And this is something we all have to work on. You're not going to be perfect. It's not going to, you have to understand it's a process, and you have to look at it as lifetime learning and continue learning to get better and better at using these tools to get the goals, to achieve the accomplishments and the goals that you want. Everybody's after something.
But look at that first one. Everyone has insecurities.
Which means everybody's after something, because we all try to fix our insecurities.
I think about like those old Indiana Jones movies where they had to walk across a floor from one end to the other, and if they stepped on the wrong tile, either spikes would come up or they will fall to their doom.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this is. Those trap tiles are the insecurities.
Yep.
And if you navigating a place with a master that has insecurities, you have to be careful not to step on them. You can't step on them. That's the whole thing. Be mindful of what you do. All right. It's 2 rules. Robert Greene outlined 2 rules that you have to know about. Number 1, you can inadvertently outshine a master simply by being yourself, which I'm going to tell y'all a quick story about that. And then there are some masters that are more insecure than others, and you may naturally outshine them by your charm and grace. So let me tell y'all what happened to me recently. I was teaching at a school. It was a smaller school. But all the parents had liked me, all the teachers, I got along with everybody. As a matter of fact, when the manager we had retired, people were saying, Doc, you should be the new manager. They need to put you up there. Of course, I didn't want that job. I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to keep doing what I was doing. But they hired a new fella to go in there. And I kept doing the same. I even did extra stuff for him. I took on extra duties. I was, pumping him up. Hey, you know what? This man here is trying to work this stuff out. I was protecting him from the mean parents and everything. And he set me up for the okie doke right quick. And I didn't understand why he did it. I mean, he went and got me on a nickel and dime thing, said that you wasn't filling out time sheets. But of course, why am I filling out time sheets when I'm a salaried employee? But we ain't talk about that. But he tried to get me on that and provided me a write-up and didn't offer me a contract at the end of the day. And for an educator, if they don't offer you a contract, let me tell you how bad it's messed you up. In the system, if you do not get offered a contract, you can't work at any school in that county at all. So he tried to sabotage me so bad. Not only did he not want me to work at that place, but he tried to keep me from working at any place. And I would have to drive 100 miles just to have a job. And I didn't do it. I didn't get it. I didn't understand. But I read this and it made sense. People liked me more than they liked him. They should come with me their problems and not talk to him. Parents would come talk to me and not even talk to him, and he'd run the place.
Right.
But he asked me out the plan real quick. And this is why.
You was out here being Fouke.
Man, look, I didn't even.
You out here being Fouke. You almost got Fouke out here.
Boy, I got Fouke. That's what he did to me. He put the Fouke on me, man.
Fouke on you,
got me good.
I'm using that one. I'm going to teach you about that just so I can use it. I'm going to teach people about it just so I can use that term. But I get Fouke now. Don't get Fouke out here.
Fouke on me, man. Now I'm gonna go ahead and say, fellas, if anybody watching or listening on the live, look at say Fouke. If
you ever
any
got
of y'all want to
Fouke,
come
put it in the comment section.
Look, hey, look, I'm gonna go ahead and put it because I got Fouke.
If you've been Fouke, put it in the comment section. Let us know let us know what happened when you got Fouke. You was out here shining like a light bulb. Thought you was doing big things. Next thing you know, you done got your head cut off. You done got sent to prison for 20 years. You out here, then lost a job or whatever. Let us know your Fouke story.
Boy, look at here. I'm gonna put that in the group. I'm gonna have to put that in the group. Got Fouke.
Yeah, we got Fouke out here.
So, hey, y'all out there, the link is down in the chat. If you want to come on, you can come on and say your piece. You don't have to put your name up. You can put a different name up there. It don't matter. You don't even have to be on camera. You can turn your camera off, but the line is open. If you want to come in, I'll see it. So again, I'm looking at this one. I got Buddy over there with the nice suit on and clean cut. And this is reviewing number 1, how you can inadvertently outshine the master. Now, there's a history story that go with this. I'm gonna tell you this one real quick. Cesare Borgia.
There he is.
Italian. Back in like the 1500s, I think, in the 1400s. But anyway, he was taking over stuff. I mean, he was running through them all. So he went and took over the city of Faenza. But instead of burning the city to the ground, he left it there. And he left everybody there. He left the prince in the city, and he just left it be. But what happened was, the prince, just being the prince, people loved the prince more than Borgia, just because the prince was who he was. Now, this man up there, like, I just saved this whole city. I could have killed up all y'all. So what he did, he went and kidnapped the prince, locked him up for treason and conspiracy. And what happened was, he was being outshone by a young boy. So this shows us how to use this to our advantage. And I had to learn this. Look at this. The first one, if you can't help but being charming or superior, you must learn to avoid the monsters or find a way to mute your good qualities. So you got to get out of there. What I should have did is quit when that man first started.
Yep.
I knew I was supposed to do that, but I didn't do it. And I was comfortable and kept being me. And look at the second one. Never imagine because the master loves you, you can do anything you want. You know that story I told y'all about the guy at the place. He thought he could do what he want.
Yep.
Working night shift, because everybody was riding with him. All 6 people riding with him. If I don't come to work, y'all lose the whole shift. But that caught up with him.
Yep.
Now, here it say, turn the law to your advantage by flattering and puffing up your master. Make it seem like you need his expertise.
That's a
So
good one.
ask him questions. People want to feel important. You got to make the master feel important. Talk to your boss. Hey, boss, look, I want to know how I can be better. I want to know how I can do this job better. If you're dating somebody, same thing. Make them feel like they want it. Make them feel like they need it. Next one, if your ideas are more creative than the master, make it seem like he did it.
Now,
and do it out loud.
That's my personal favorite. That's my personal. If your ideas are more creative than your master, subscribe to him. Listen, I was a master at making somebody else think it was their idea. My problem was when the idea got broadcasted, I'd be over in the side like, that was my idea. That's how I messed up.
That was me. That was me.
That's how I messed up. I wanted the credit. I wanted to trick them, but I wanted the credit on the low. You can't do that. Sometimes you gotta let that credit go for now.
You gotta let them have it.
You gotta let them have it for now.
But I ain't gonna lie though, it get under your skin when you in an employee meeting or something and you say an idea and then they blow you off like you never said anything. Then the next week they doing what you said and making it seem like you did it. You like they did it. I mean, and that'll happen, man. That will happen.
Yep.
So look at that last one right there. It's not a weakness to disguise your strengths. It's in the end, they lead to power. But by letting others outshine you, you remain in control instead of being a victim to their insecurity. You ain't gotta always play your trump cards.
Nope.
Like when you're playing spades and you got a good hand and you think you're gonna run a Boston on them, you think that you can get it, but you don't have the 2 jokers or the ace, but you got all the other spades, and you coming out there hard too. Pow! Head cut off. So you don't have to let people know what you can do. That's what them old men used to say. Man, don't let them know you can do all that. Don't let them folks know you know how to drive that clamp.
Have you
on
it
it
all
have
night.
You want to drive the clamp all the time.
Yep.
And not paying you for it.
Nope. You gotta take your time and pay attention to the situation. You gotta look at what's really going on, because everybody involved got their own particular agenda.
Man.
Doesn't necessarily mean their agenda is gonna be good for you.
All day long. All right, so we got some people watching. Y'all, if you want to come on, you want to say your piece, the link is in the chat. Just click the link and we can come on and talk about it. You can tell us your opinion. It's open. It's ready to go. All right, let's move on. All right, look at this. The keys to power. So these are the things you need to know. That everybody got insecurities. Most regular people don't matter. Those in power over you is a different story. And don't believe that you are winning because you showing how good you are at stuff. And don't be surprised that if the master want to get rid of you because you're doing too much.
Yep.
Are we wrapping this thing up? Reversal. He got a reversal in here. Now, the reversals is when you can throw the rules out the window. Now, he said that you can't worry about upsetting every person you come across, but you got to be selectively cruel. This is where people think it's unethical. And look at the last one. If your superior is a falling star, there's nothing to fear from outshining him. Outdo, outcharm, outsmart him at key moments.
That's
all
important.
That talk.
That's important. That last part. That last part. Key moments. You must play these moments correctly, and you got to make sure it's a falling star, because if you read this wrong, it can spell doom for you. But if you play it right, if you read it right,
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can really make some headway for yourself and don't miss the time. I missed the opportunity for this in my life. Well, I could have really made a leap. I thought something was happening. It was happening, and I didn't act fast enough. I didn't take the time to outdo, outcharm, outsmart like I should have.
Yeah.
You gotta learn to read. And that was a flaw of youth. But you have to learn to read what's going on and accurately. So sometimes you may have to watch it happen one time to know what it looked like for the next time.
But the part I like about this is that you have to be selectively cruel.
That's correct. Can't help everybody all the time.
Well, but you can't seek to crush everybody either.
Right.
You don't have to crush everybody, but you be selective in how you choose to do that. Because you'll be tired. You can't keep that up.
Yeah.
You only do certain things if it's going to benefit your position, your family. Don't just be crushing people just because you can.
Right.
Everything is you. Some things somebody said earlier, and I wish I can find that comment. He said, oh, there you go right there. Every action doesn't require a reaction.
Correct.
Got to put your ego in check, fellas. Got to put your ego in check. So,
just
Jay, man, we made it.
Something, don't mean you should do something.
No, sometimes the best way is to do nothing. And you know what? This is the hardest thing, man. I'm still a gamer. I game sometimes, well, regularly. But in some of these games, right, you have a dialogue tree, and you can pick the good choice, the bad choice, or you don't say nothing. And you know it's real hard not to pick nothing. You always got to pick something one way or the other. And then you end up getting Fouke.
Got to be careful. Can't get Fouke out here now.
You don't want to get Fouke. All right, man. So we talked about this. When did you outshine the master? If anybody out there want to tell a story about how they got Fouke, hey, you can come on. If not, you can write it, because that's going to be a topic in the group for the next week. How did you get Fouke?
Listen, it happened to everybody. Like I said, I think it's one of those things in youth. We so we're so excited to get going in life. The very first opportunity we get to show how good or how great we are, we take it. And that might not be the best move at the right time. And it's one of those things we have to learn, back to that same thing, controlling your emotion. Because it's an emotional reaction. It's I feel like I should be here. I'm here, but I feel like I should be here. Let me make a move to get there, when you may have been able to not do anything and got to the same place.
Just be you.
Yeah.
Just be you and be still.
You didn't need a big grand gesture, because Fouke probably would have came out way better if he had just went to Louis and said, "Hey, I really was trying to get that finance minister job. What can I do to help you so I can get to that position?"
That's it.
If he'd have done that, rather than try to put on a big show, he probably would have came out better. Hey man, I'm not gonna lie to you. I want to do that to help the kingdom out, to help you out. I think I'll be a great finance minister because of this. But he wanted to put on a show, put on a spectacle, and it jammed him up. Because a lot of people so worried about how things look more than how things are.
Exactly. Now, here's the thing, man. When you read more of that story, Fouke was actually stealing money for King Louis.
Yes.
He set him up. So he was doing dirty. He set him up.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen. That man sit at the top. You know what I'm saying? He sit at the top like ain't nobody below me gonna look better than me.
Mm-mm.
And I'm, that's something they talk about later, having a scapegoat. He was a scapegoat.
Oh, yeah. And see, I was the scapegoat. Well, I'm going to tell the rest of that story when we get to that part. Y'all going to hear the rest of that, how I became the scapegoat.
You gotta have one sometimes, Fouke got scapegoated. He got Fouke. He got put in prison. Listen, he caught a bad rap, man. He went from shining. He went from shining like a light bulb to doing prison time, man.
You know,
that's a hard fall.
And I mean, I'm gonna go back to this thing, man. That whole Will Smith thing, man. That screamed out to me.
Oh yeah,
right there, because he talked about it in his book. Like Will got Fouque'd. He was already Fouque'd before he started, but that just made it worse. That just made it worse.
That whole. I don't want to get into that. We could do when we do the book study on Will
Smith book.
Yeah, we can do that. We can, because I listen to it again just to do the book study again. Because we can go back and go through, because there's a lot of good. It's a lot of. Hold on. First off, let me say this. It is so much great things to learn in that book.
Yeah.
And one of the things in Will's book and this book is you have to decide what's important to you at the time and what's important to you in your long term. And you have to make sure they in line and be ready to shift gears at a particular moment. Based on what's important to you and what's important to the people around you. And it's definitely a lessons to be learned in this book and Will's book about that very thing.
Man, the most dangerous thing we have is our ego.
Yes.
And, you know, I always say you have to redefine what success is.
Mm-hmm.
And people often have success as them coming out on top, them getting the adoration, the cheers, and all the joy. But your thing is to win. You succeed by winning. And winning is not appearing to be number one. Winning is achieving your goal. You know, I had a young man, I had to tell him this today. There's this one teacher that they don't like. And every time the teacher say something to them, they always argue back. Every single time. And I'm like, bro, you're not going to win. She the teacher and you the student. You're not going to win the argument. Nope. Well, but she said so-and-so to me. I can't let her talk to me like that. I'm like, what is winning? What is winning to you? Winning is you being able to sit in here and get that lady to leave you alone. That's how you win. So how do you win? Just shut up and say yes, ma'am. You win.
That's a good point you're getting to right there. Determining what is winning. Mm-hmm. What's a real win for you? What is your goal? Because for that kid, initially winning was, I can't let them talk to me like that.
Yeah.
They thought that was something that person thought was very important, was not letting somebody talk to me like that, which probably wasn't even, they probably weren't even being talked to crazy. They probably were being talked to exactly as it needed to be talked to, that the situation demanded. Mm-hmm. But that's not, so you really have to, that's something you have to delve down deep into yourself and decide what is winning. What is winning in this situation? And you have to make your actions based on that. What is your overall goal? What is winning? Is winning keeping your job? Is winning getting a promotion? Is winning using this, learning everything I can learn here to flip into another job, into another location? You have to really decide as you move through what are your goals and what is winning, because that will dictate the moves you take to get there.
Yeah, a lot of people ain't gonna do what it take to win.
Right.
Because of the ego.
But I don't think a lot of
can't
people
let it go.
Because they don't have a real idea what winning is. They for them, having that ego stroke is winning.
Yeah.
It's okay. I'll give you an example I see in social media and in the public at large right now. And it's a lot of women. Women want attention. Mm-hmm. This is a regular thing. They want attention. Nobody argues that point. Women want attention, and they get a lot of attention and all that from social media. But is that the only thing you want? Is that your win? Just to get that attention in the here and now, or is your win to actually have a successful relationship? Because the things you're doing to get attention now, for example, now this ain't all women, but for example, twerking and being half naked. You're getting attention right now. But that may be killing your long-term goal of trying to be in a relationship.
That's your reward. There's a verse in the Bible about that. You know, it talks about how people, their reward will be. Oh, I remember. It was talking about people speaking in tongues and stuff like that, and that your reward, if you put that out there, that you do that, is the fact that everybody say, "Oh yeah, they can do that." You get nothing out of it.
Right.
Same thing. Redefine what success is for you. Redefine it. Stop thinking like everybody else. Stop being like everybody else. Do what you got to do for you and your family. That's what success is. You know what? Success might be, for me, you know what I thought success was? Being able to be home with my kids all the time and with my family, my wife. That was my success. So guess what? I didn't have the job that I, make more than 6 figures. I didn't have that. Because winning to me was being able to raise kids that was entrusted to me and my wife to be productive citizens of society and raise them the right way. That was paramount above everything. And I still maintain that to this day, because that's what winning is.
And that's what it's about. You have to define what winning is for you. And you made you did define what winning is for you, and you made the decisions based on that goal to get you as close as possible to what you thought winning was. I don't think people take enough time to really define what winning is to them.
Gotta know yourself.
Exactly.
Gotta know yourself.
And they go out here and they just kind of flying all over the place, chasing the emotions of the moment instead of their long-term win. One of the things I've said this before on this platform, and I'll continue to say, because I truly believe it is, if a short-term decision has a negative effect on your long-term goal, it's a bad decision. I'll give you an easy example of this. Today, man, I wanted me a Sarah's donut today.
Woo.
But I'm also trying to lose some weight. I wanted to go right around the corner to Old Sarah and get me a red velvet and a blueberry cake donut. I did. Couldn't go.
I feel you.
Because I want to lose a couple pounds. I want to drop a little bit of weight. My long-term goal is to be healthy and to be in better shape.
Yeah.
That would have been a short-term decision that had a negative effect on my long-term goal.
Winning. You won. You won the battle that time.
I won the battle that time. Now
tomorrow.
I fight it every
tomorrow. Oh, you ain't the only one. You ain't the only one either, man. That's what I'm doing, trying to get better with that, man. That's it.
I fight it every day. I know I'm gonna struggle this coming up week. I got a big trip. I'm gonna be out of town. So, I know I'm gonna struggle with the decisions I make, because I'm spending somebody else's money. So
oh yeah. Well, you know how that is, man. You already won. Just go ahead and eat you a steak, get you a couple donuts for the road. You'll make it up next week. Steak and lobster. The only restaurant they had around there was Ruth Chris. That was it. I had to go. I had to eat.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna find out what's the best restaurant in town. You can believe that. I'm going on the Yelp immediately and find out who the best restaurant in the reviews. You can believe that. That's gonna happen.
All the stars. So, man, before we shut it down, man, I gotta say this, because this is something I'm gonna push toward. We feel like, I'm talking to the men, the fellas here. We push our kids to be the best. We push our kids to read, to do well in school. We tell them, boy, pay attention. Slap in the back of the head, boy, pay attention. But the problem I'm having is that you're not paying attention. Some of us out there feel that our attention span's the size of a gnat. We tell ourselves that. So my attention span short. I can't watch this live stream because it's 2 hours long. I can't read that book because it's got 28 chapters. I can't listen to that audio book because I can't stand nothing that long. But you telling yourself that whatever you speak of yourself is what you make yourself. So how can you tell your children to be better and to learn, and you not willing to do it. So stop telling yourself that. Man, find a way. Break it up into part. If you don't want to watch this live stream, that's an hour and 45 minutes at this point. Watch 5 minutes a day, 5 minutes tomorrow. You keep rolling. You'll find that it gets longer. If there's a book you want to listen to or read, start reading 1 page at a time. Just read 1 and stop. Then read 2 the next day. But you got to stretch this thing out, because a lot of us have gotten lazy. We have gotten lazy, and we do what's easy, because it's easy for us to go out and work 14 hours a day. It's easy for us to go out there and unload trailers, drive forklifts, weld hard things together. We can do that, and we can come home and love our families, but it's real hard to sit down and educate your brain. We can't continue to do this. How can we make our boys better? How can we make our relationships better? How can we make ourselves better if we're not willing to do the work? And a lot of us are afraid to do the work. We shine away from it because we think we can't pay attention that long. Come on, man. You got this. Let's go. Let's learn something. That's why we here. All right, I'm done.
I'm gonna say this to piggyback off what you said. We have to expand beyond who we are now. If you're saying you want more, you want to have a better life, you want to do some different things than you've been doing in the past, the first thing you have to do is do some different things than what you're doing right now. If you could get there being who you are today, you'd already have it. So if you want a different result, you have to have different actions. And one of the things, everywhere I go, everywhere I turn, one of the number one things people say is read some books and put more tools in your toolbox. Yeah. And that's why we're doing this. We're trying to help people put more tools in their toolbox. We're here to help you. We want to be a part of it. We want you to be a part of it. Come in, comment, speak your piece, dial in. Thank you very much, T-Man, for coming in earlier and joining us for a few. We love to have anybody else that wants to come on. If you got opinions and ideas, and like I said, this week we'll have at least the segment on Fouke up there, so you guys can give us your Fouke stories. We would love to hear it. We show it's fine. If you want to do it in a video and post it, that'd be great. Just to hear the story as y'all tell it, that'd be a wonderful thing, man. We appreciate anybody who joined us tonight and will watch us in the future. Like I said, like, share, comment. Let us know what's going on, man. The Book of Man is here for everybody to try to grow and be better and get better. We love y'all. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next Thursday for the next few chapters of the Book of Power. I mean, 48.
Law 2.
Law 2.
Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies.
There it is.
Let's go.
Let's go. We'll see y'all next week, man. I appreciate it. I had a great time with you tonight, Doc. And,
yes, sir.
And discussing these topics, man. A lot to learn here. A lot to unravel in this book. If we missed something, if you thought something was important in the preface or in chapter 1 that we missed, let us know. Say, put that in the comments. Hey, man, why y'all didn't talk about this? Or can y'all follow up on this? We'll go throughout the week with any follow-ups. We may even repost another video and discuss another topic if y'all see it. Let us know. We'll be live Saturday morning. We will be live Saturday morning. We can follow up with some more. We can go over a review of this. So just let us know. Throw it out there between now and Saturday morning, 11 o'clock, and we'll get back with you.
All right.
Love y'all.
Good.
We out.
Later.